My earliest moments of tattooing were tattooing out of my buddy's basement because I was too afraid to bring my tattoo kit home and getting caught by my mom and my dad doing tattoos. So it was very underground. It was very it had like a very criminal aspect to it. Mind you, this was about almost like 15 years ago, so there was still kind of that underground aspect to it. It was a cool hustle, man. It was like a lot of people in the neighborhood were selling dope and stuff like that, and I never wanted to be that guy. So I wanted to focus on being an artist, but I never actually wanted to be a tattoo artist. It's just sort of something that grew as I kept doing it, right? Eventually I did get caught tattooing, and you know what? It was welcome with a lot of support from my parents. They knew I was an artist from the beginning, from like the age of like 4 years old. That's when I really just started drawing things, right? Like little houses, little sunshine, the typical kid stuff, right? And then eventually I started drawing like knights and dragons and stuff like that. There's actually there was one time, and I don't remember this, but I was told many times by my dad that I was sitting there drawing this knight and I was trying to get the chainmail just right, and I kept screwing up, and I was like throwing big fits about it. And I guess right then and there is when my parents knew, like, okay, this kid's gonna be an artist. Finding an interest was sort of something that I had to develop myself because I was getting all these visible tattoos. The process of getting a regular job was pretty much nil. Like, I wasn't able to do it. So I figured I may as well dive deeper into this, learn all the traditions of it, study other artists. And once I found like the Chicano prison style tattoos, that's when I really fell in love with tattooing. Just all the things you could do with black and gray and how they held up with tattooing. That's really when I found my passion for it. If I wasn't tattooing, my life would be 100% different, man. Like, I would not, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have the family that I have today. I wouldn't have grown. I would have been stuck just doing what everyone else was doing. I probably would be dead or in jail, man. Like, I was on a path of self-destruction. Teenage angst mixed with like just the mind of an artist. It's a complex thing, man. So without finding tattooing and finding my passion for it, yeah, life would be, I can't even picture where I'd be. Would I be working in a warehouse? Would I have gone to college or university? Like, it's weird for me to even think about not tattooing and where I would be, because it would probably be a really shitty place. You get this emotional bond with your client, and just knowing that you're doing something for them that's gonna last forever, it's an incredible feeling. Like, when I'm tattooing someone, even though it may be like a typical design for me, maybe I did like 4 of these designs in the past 2 months. For them, it's a story for them, I'm gonna be a part of their life forever, and making sure that they get the best piece of art as possible it's incredible. And the look on their face after, when they look in the mirror and they tell me how much they love it, and just knowing that they're gonna tell their friends, it's amazing, man. Like, I don't even know how else to put that. I like to socialize, I like to talk to people, and like, that's another thing I love about tattooing is every day I meet someone new, and I meet people from all different walks of life. So let's say like 10 years ago, even if you went to a Starbucks or any fast food chain, you didn't see people with tattoos. Like, it was very like hush hush, right? Like, you would get them maybe on your arm or something so that your uniform would cover it. Now I've got clients who are like police officers, lawyers, every walk of life, and they all have visible tattoos now. So it's really interesting to see that sort of change in the way it's socially accepted these days. Like, it's almost weird now to see a young person without a tattoo. Whereas when I first came up, it was like, if you had a tattoo at a young age, you were probably a gang member, or you were living some sort of like sketchy lifestyle, right? Like, there was a reason you had a tattoo.
Let's talk about the moment you did your first tattoo?
Oh my God. So first off, I didn't even know how to set up the machine. I went into it so completely blind. I didn't do an apprenticeship at first. I just bought a tattoo kit at the local supply studio right there at Carlisle and Queen, man, Studio One. I lied through my teeth in order to get that kit. I told them I worked at a made-up studio. They definitely knew I was lying, but they said, screw it, let's sell it to this guy anyway. I had to Google and ask people, how do I even hook this thing up? Immediately, as soon as I got it, I went to my buddy's house and I hid it there. I didn't even touch it for about a month, man, until another buddy of mine said, hey, like, this thing's just sitting here. You spent all this money on it. Why don't you tattoo me? So I said, fuck it. Let's try it out, right? I didn't even know how to put a stencil on. I didn't even know how to make a stencil. I missed a whole letter. So it was loyalty without the A. So if you said it really fast, it still sounded like loyalty. It was a crazy moment. It really was. It was kind of like, is this something that I'm gonna actually want to do? It was a wake-up call, man. It was like, you better learn your shit, buddy, or else you're gonna be misspelling tattoos for the rest of your life. So the tattoos that I enjoy doing the most are pretty much anything that lets me just be creative through and through. I do a lot of freehand stuff. Like 90% of the time, I'm not using a stencil. I'm just whipping out the Sharpies. I'm doodling on you until I figure out what the hell I want to do. And as long as it's black and gray, a little bit of street style to it, a little bit of graffiti-esque, that's what I love to do. The future for my shop, eh? I mean, my 5-year plan, I guess you could say, is to sort of just expand my clientele, get my name out there, and get every artist who's working here established. So my advice to newer artists is learn everything you can. Learn every style as possible, because a style that you might think that you want to do, it could end up being something completely different, or you're gonna take this from this style, that from that style, and combine it and create your own. But it's important to learn every single aspect. And it's more than just doing the tattoo. You know, it's you want to learn how to talk to people. You want to learn how to treat people. You want to let people know that they're not just money walking through the door. There's a very personal aspect to it. There's a lot of ethics involved. And learn every single thing. And don't give up. There's slow times and there's really fast times, and there's great times and there's terrible times, man. Just stick to your mission and you're gonna be all right. Like, I've got a bunch of really crappy tattoos on myself, but a lot of them, they're from certain times in my life that, like, I look at it and I'm just like, man, like, what a trip. You know, like, the guy who did this tattoo was one of the guys who originally taught me how to tattoo, and he's dead now. You know, he passed away a few years ago, and I was eventually gonna get it covered up, and now I'm gonna keep it there because it's a reminder of sort of who taught me, who got me to where I wanted to be, and he pushed me. And at one point, I remember him saying, one day you're gonna be one of the best in the city, man. And I didn't believe him. I was like, the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, I'm just doing this to get some beer money. You know, it was never a serious endeavor in the beginning. This one right here, me and a buddy of mine, you know, we were drinking like crazy, and this was his first time ever holding a machine. His hand was broken, it was in a cast, and I still to this day remember how painful that tattoo was. But whenever I look at it, I remember that night. And it's crazy, man. Like, that's what tattoos are, right? They're it's your story. It's your story on your skin. And, you know, reminds you not to live with regrets. Life goes on, you know?